one. Hey up everyone, it's me, Steph the Alternate, your nerdy alternative, filling in for Andy this week whilst he is in Vegas live. Yes, he will be live over on Movie World Plus, reporting from CinemaCon 2023 from Vegas, so do make sure you subscribe over on Movie World Plus and stay tuned because we will be raiding a live stream over on that channel afterwards in a couple of hours' time. I know that for everyone that stuck by us for the past half hour, thank you so much. Andy will be popping in shortly for today's Pop Culture Justice live segment. In the meantime, though, I got me sis. It's Kim is here, and she's not sounding like a robot.
I know, it's so nice. I'm human again.
You're human again. I know. So let's really jump into this because this is a breaking news in the last hour. As far as I'm concerned, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. Scumbags, yes, scumbags, both Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon have lost their jobs at CNN and Fox News. Looking at this, Tucker Carlson has parted ways with Fox News, whereas Don Lemon fired. However, I would argue both have been fired. But let's go through the information that we've got to hand at the moment. So, Tucker Carlson has officially parted ways with Fox News. The network has said today, this is breaking news, it broke in the last hour. They say, we thank him for his service to the network as a host and prior to that as a contributor, the network said in a statement. Carlson's last show was Friday, the network said. Fox said it would air a new programme called Fox News Tonight at 8 p.m, starting Monday evening as an interim show helmed by rotating Fox News personalities until a new host is named. Now, this is why I'm saying, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, something is wrong with this picture. I don't think they just parted ways here because Carlson, reportedly from The Hill, is saying that he was Fox's top-rated primetime host, netting an average of 3 million viewers per night, the most of any pundit on cable TV. So you gotta wonder, Kim, who really part ways? Was he really fired or was he pushed? Like, I mean, you're kind of geographically closer to Tucker Carlson, Fox and all that lot than me. So, like, initially when you saw this, what was your initial reaction and thoughts?
Well, one of the first things I did when I saw this was I started to look at a bunch of different sources. And specifically today, I avoided news from the networks that are involved with this story because I wanted to have more neutral voices and focusing on the facts. What I found the most surprising was that on Friday, there was no mention on Tucker Carlson's show, and I watched the last clip of it, that this was it. That this was his last show and just said, we'll see you Monday. And then here we are Monday and there's no show. There's going to be no show. So it does kind of feel like this was not a planned situation. And I think regardless of the way that you feel about Tucker, whether or not you think he's amazing or whether or not you think he's terrible, this does not seem like it was planned. It was abrupt. And I think we're going to hear a lot of different things over the next little bit. And we have to be really careful about what we're, taking as fact and really try to be objective. Because as we've already seen, this whole topic is like a minefield and people have a lot of opinions and people get very upset. But the reality is he had a major show on television, a major show with millions of viewers, and Fox either let him go or wanted him gone. And the question now is, why? And it's hard to ignore what has happened over the past couple of weeks, unfortunately, in the political sphere, where Fox did settle a very large lawsuit. And there's been a lot of controversy surrounding things that apparently Tucker has said in private. there's tons of questions, tons of questions. So I guess we'll see more. But I mean, what a surprising event to happen this morning. I don't think anybody was expecting it.
No, I mean, as soon as you shared it in the headline group, I was like, the frick? KWNY Upstate, though, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I thought this was quite funny in conjunction with the story. You should have joked that Andy is also fired from his show, and that's why he can't join us. Well, breaking news, guys. No. We're all Gucci. We're all Gucci. And Stephanie D has been a member for 6 months on the next level. Thank you so much for your support. Saying much love to Steph. It's Kim and Andy for keeping it real. We'll always keep it real. Now, speaking of which, this is a thing, right? I went on to Tucker Carlson's Twitter, and guess what? At the moment, it is crickets, you guys. He has not responded. He has not said a thing. The last thing he posted was on April 21st, where he was reporting on Hunter Biden, going on a rant, you know, the usual. Now, before we dive a little bit more into Tucker Carlson and why he's a scumbag and why he has lied to you guys, you need to know that. Let's go on to another scumbag. On the other side at spectrum, Mr. Don Lemon himself. Yes, The Hill has reported. CNN host Don Lemon says he has been fired by CNN. Now, The Hill has confirmed Lemon's exit with CNN. He was fired by CNN president himself, Chris Licht, or Licht, however you're going to pronounce it. Licht said in a memo to CNN workers that CNN and Don have parted ways. Don will forever be part of the CNN family, and we thank him for his contributions over the past 17 years, Licht said. We wish him well, and we'll be cheering him on in his future endeavours. Now, before we get on to Don Lemon's Twitter, because dude went off, guys, on this one, when you read this, Kim, what was your initial reactions to that situation?
I mean, I think we have talked about Don Lemon on this channel before. We've talked about he has a long history of saying some really horrible things about women. And it's also not a secret that a lot of the staff that has worked around him does not really like him very much. They don't enjoy working with him, and they find him to be a very difficult person. And so a part of the thing is, like, there were a few pieces that were put out about him a couple of months ago that kind of went through this timeline of years and years and years of inappropriate behavior and offensive behavior. And a lot of people were asking, why is there no consequence? Why does he still have a job? And I mean, Annie and I also had that conversation about it as well a couple of weeks ago. And I woke up and looked at this and went, oh my goodness, apparently they had enough, I guess. That to me is the most logical conclusion, that it's like they finally reached a point where they said it was enough is enough with Don's behavior, and they fired him. But apparently they didn't tell him.
Well, this is the thing, right? Let's go on to Don Lemon, because he had something to say on his Twitter about this. So he wrote, I was informed this morning by my agent that I've been terminated by CNN. Whenever anyone says terminated, guys, I'm sorry, I think of Arnold Schwarzenegger and the Terminator. And that's just the nerd in me, okay? So you've been terminated. Like, I'm sorry, I've just got Arnold Schwarzenegger now in my head reading this. I am stunned, though, Don Lemon says. After 17 years at CNN, I would have thought that someone in management would have had the decency to tell me directly. At no time was I ever given any indication that I would not be able to continue to do the work I have loved at the network. It is clear that there are some larger issues at play. With that said, I want to thank my colleagues and the many teams I have worked with for an incredible run. In my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, apart from women, we'll get onto that in a moment. They are the most talented journalists in the business. unless you don't have a dong between your legs. And I wish them all the best. Now, why am I absolutely roasting Don Lemon in regards to the women's situation? Well, we did report on this a couple of weeks back on Popcorn Planet, but dude has a history, an absolute history, in our opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, of being a misogynist. And so, he had earlier on this year said live that 51-year-old Nikki Haley isn't a viable presidential candidate because, quote, she isn't in her prime. Now, if I remember rightly, Kim, this was a situation where there was a lot of outrage, and he apologized on Twitter, right? On this one?
Mm-hmm. Yes, he did apologize on this one. But the problem is, it would be one thing if it was one incident, but it's not one incident with Don Lemon. It's a pattern. It's a history. And it seems to go on and on and on and on and on. I don't know how much of this article you want to go through, so I don't want to speak on behalf of it if you want to go through it.
Yeah, we'll be going through it, yeah. So this is the thing, and this is why I'm saying, guys, leave politics at the door. I don't give a shiz about that, okay? These two guys are scumbags, not because of their political affiliations, okay? Because they lie to you and they are misogynistic, okay? Don Lemon in particular, misogynistic. Let's go through a few examples here. So, Lemon at one point was demoted, guys. When your prime time and then you go to morning TV shows on news networks, that is a demotion, okay? Back in November, this happened to him, and he was paired, ironically, with two female anchors, Poppy Arlo and Caitlin Collins. One executive noted that it was a recipe for disaster, and the gaffes continued. 1 month after he had moved back to mornings and was presenting with the two female actors, he drew controversy by saying that the US men's national soccer team should get paid more than the women's team, and insisted the former is more interesting to watch. Now, when you hear a comment like that, Kim, what do you think?
I mean, I disagree. I disagree. I think women's sports has some of the most talented athletes on the planet, hands down. And it's a shame that they don't get the same exposure that male athletes do, because I think if they did, a lot more people would be interested in them.
Totally.
And I think it's a comment that is made in very bad taste. Yes,
very much bad taste. But the issue is, it doesn't stop there, you guys. So, one senior executive said, as fast as you could make a rule, Don would bend it. Dude thought that he was untouchable. More troubling was his misogynistic behaviour, multiple sources say. Lemon called one of his producers fat to her face. I mean, I'm sorry, but guys, if someone turned around to me and called me fat to my face, I'd have something to say about it.
Like, producers are kind of your boss. How many of us, if we walked up to our boss, looked them right in the eye and insulted them to their face, how many of us would still have a job? I'm genuinely asking, because nowhere that I've worked has that been a thing.
Right.
So, and this is what I mean about the whole, when I saw that he had finally gotten fired, I was like, what was it this one? Like, what happened that was like, this was it? This was the moment that it was like, we're going to fight. I don't get it. Anyway, sorry.
No, it's all right. Now, we'll be getting into a moment what Tucker has lied about. But let's get on to the last little bits of Don Lemon, why he is a scumbag, misogynistic scumbag, to say the least. So, Not long before he was identified as sending threatening texts to Phillips, he mocked Grace on air by mimicking her, shocking fellow colleagues. Grace declined to comment, but a person close to her tells Variety that she thinks he's a butthole, basically, and that he was always rude, dismissive, and really unfamiliar with the news content being discussed. So basically, dude would wing it, thinking that he knows everything, just he doesn't need to do the work, right? Says a witness to the Grace incident, that was the beginning of when you knew that Don was kind of volatile and didn't say good things about women. If Lemon felt threatened by Grace, the biggest star at CNN headline news at the time, she wasn't the only one. He was upset that O'Brien landed the gig of hosting CNN's high-profile Black in America docuseries, which launched back in 2008. During an editorial call attended by roughly 30 staffers, so the 30 witnesses potentially here, guys, he suggested O'Brien isn't black, according to two witnesses who found the characterization wildly offensive. Quote, one colleague says, Don always wanted to be front and centre on anything high profile, especially anything involving race. O'Brien, who wasn't present though, tells Variety, Don has long had a habit of saying idiotic and inaccurate things, so it sounds pretty on brand for him. I mean, these people that are commenting are being quite polite in a way, but it's a roundabout way of saying, yeah, dude's misogynistic. Dude don't like women. Like, dude is proper harsh when he talks about women and talks to women. Like, do you get that vibe? Because I do.
I'm sorry, you cut out there for a second. Can you just repeat that last line?
Sorry. So what I said was, all these witnesses that are coming forward in this Variety article, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of beating around the bush, I think. They're trying to be polite at the same time. And I think what they're saying is basically code for dude is a misogynistic prick who hates women and doesn't really have anything nice to say about women, really, generally, in the grand scheme of things. Like, is that the vibe that you're getting? Because that's the vibe that I'm getting.
I could definitely see that. I think people, I mean, it's hard because Don was a very, very popular personality, and you don't like to go up against those people because the backlash can be huge if you say something against somebody that is liked by a lot of people. So, yeah, I get that.
Yeah. And then it goes on. The CNN spokesperson said Dawn, Soledad, and others have in the past correctly referred to her Afro-Cuban heritage as it is a unique part of her personal story, but Dawn denies making any related remark in a derogatory way. Of course he would. Of course he would. He had diva-like behaviour, shocking his cohorts, annoying them, skipping editorial calls, showing up late, generally exhibiting disengaged behaviour. This dude, as far as I'm concerned, like, he didn't deserve to be there. From everything that I'm reading, right, from all the evidence that's coming forward, so many witnesses, so many stories, and they're all consistent, they're all saying the same thing. How he stayed at CNN for so long is beyond me. Like, I think that's more like the shocking part of it all. Yeah, it's shocking that he's a misogynistic scumbag, as far as I'm concerned. But I think what's even more shocking is that CNN allowed this, as far as I can tell, for 17 years. Like, do you think that they've handled this well, or...
No. Gosh, no. I mean, one thing, I don't know if you've seen the clip, but Andy and I actually did look this up. There is one instance where they talk about in this article that Don was speaking with a woman who was a survivor and asked her why she didn't bite when she was being forced into a certain act.
Yeah.
I
saw that.
And it's like that would have fixed everything. There's been so many of these moments that I don't understand why he had a job, period. Because I feel like I don't understand. And I honestly wonder if there's more going on behind the scenes here with him that we don't know that would put more context as to why he had not been fired previously.
Mm.
because it's wild looking through all this.
Mm. And the thing is, right, okay, he's an absolute scumbag, but I also think he's a liar as well. And let me explain why. Earlier on this year, he apologises, right? Says he'll change this, that, and the other. He didn't do. What happened? More stories came out of him being misogynistic, being cruel to women, nasty to women. So not only, yes, I'm saying, yeah, totally Don Lemon is a scumbag, but a total liar as well. Because that apology that he made back in, I think, February time with the Nikki Haley situation, where it was like, I'm sorry, I'll learn, I'll be better. He didn't get better, guys. He thought he could do the fake apology as far as I'm concerned, paper over the cracks and carry on as normal. Because dude had that diva-like behaviour, as this article has mentioned, where he thought he, as far as I can tell, he was untouchable. That apology was false, as far as I am concerned, and he lied to you all. Would you agree with that, or do you have a different perspective, Kim, on that?
I think he absolutely seems from the outside looking in, my speculation, as someone that, you know, would rather beg for forgiveness than ask permission.
Yeah.
And that can become a massive, massive problem. And Don also did have a history of saying things that were not completely true. And sometimes he would say, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, that it's like, it's hard because you have deadlines and he couldn't investigate it as fully as he wanted to and things of that nature. And there were a few times that he did outright lie. I looked up on PolitiFact and confirmed those and saw that absolutely there were times that he was dishonest. But I think the overarching problem with Don Lemon was his lack of professionalism and how inappropriate he was.
Yeah. There we go, guys. Now, let's get on to Tucker Carlson before we end this particular segment and go into the after show party, guys. So, Tucker Carlson, right? Scumbag. Why has he lied to you? How has he lied to you? Well, let's get into this. So, you remember last week that massive $750 million settlement that Fox made with Dominion? Yeah, about the whole, their system rigged the election, stole votes, voter fraud situation, right? Election fraud. Again, we're not getting political here, so let's be very, very clear on this, right? We're just stating the situation, the facts of the situation, okay? Right. Well, here we go. So on air, here we go. What did Tucker Carlson say on air when it came to this whole situation, this allegation of voter fraud, election fraud, the votes were stolen from Trump, this, that, and the other? Okay. So on his show, Carlson pushed more suggestions of fraud, though he said we don't know anything about the software. He says we don't know how many votes were stolen. We don't know anything about the software that many say was rigged. We don't know. We ought to find out. But here's what we do know. On a larger level, at the highest levels, actually, our system isn't what we thought it was. It's not as fair as it should be. Not even close. That is a direct quote from the gob of Tucker Carlson himself, you guys. Carlson, during this particular show that he's quoted from, also said that false claims of fraud can be every bit as destructive as the fraud itself, and that the fraud that we can confirm does not seem to be enough to alter the election results. We should be honest and tell you that. This is the thing, guys. Publicly, on his show, he is peddling the narrative, or at least entertaining the idea publicly, to 3 million of his viewers every single night, yeah, that there was at least the potential that there was election fraud. that there were votes that were stolen, this, that, and the other. He, at the very least, you could say, did that, right? Based on the quotes that we've just read, yeah? Okay. How has he lied to you? Well, through the Dominion filing, okay, we find this little juicy tidbit. November the 8th, Tucker Carlson privately texts his producer and saying that the allegations about Dominion were absurd, according to the Dominion filing. Also that day, Carlson's producer texted him about his own doubts. The producer, Alex Pfeiffer, texted to Carlson per the lawsuit saying, I don't think there's any evidence of voter fraud that swung the election. The software shiz is absurd. And Carlson allegedly responded saying half our viewers have seen the Maria clip, however you want to pronounce that. So, think about it, right? He's literally on air giving everyone at least the indication that there was voter fraud, that votes were stolen or whatever, that the machine used may not be as fair as it should be, not even close. He's peddling that to you publicly. Private, though? Yeah, the allegations are absurd against Dominion. Guys, he is saying one thing on air and another thing privately with the whole voter fraud situation. That is why I am also calling him a scumbag, and more than that, a lying scumbag. He lied to you. Kim?
Yeah. I also just want to mention, I should have sent this to you earlier, Steph. I apologize. I sent you a link in our chat. A number of years ago, it seems like, or a while ago, there was a lawsuit where Fox defended Carlson. And one of their defenses of Carlson was literally saying that, sorry, I'm just trying to find the exact quote here. Basically, the lawyer said that you can't believe the facts that Tucker Carlson tells you. That people that could look at things objectively would not necessarily believe what he had to say.
Yeah.
And my problem is, this is when I get frustrated, and I just want to say, I know some people really like him. I know some people really like Fox, and that's fine. You're allowed to like them. But if the news organization can't say with confidence that the things that their reporters are saying are factual, why is it news? Where you have to check the facts. And if they can't even stand by that, like, this is a little bit ridiculous. Right? And I feel like it's the same thing. And that's part of why we wanted to talk about this today, is because there's issues whether you're looking at the right side or the left side. There's issues everywhere. And I think us as the audience, as the general public, should be able to demand better from our media. The fact that we have such a huge change between private text messages that Tucker had to what he said on television, and then we have lawyers saying, well, no one would actually believe him, seriously. This is a problem, guys. It's not okay. And I'm not saying that, like, everything Carlson has ever done is terrible, but there's a problem here.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. And yeah, B said, yeah, Tucker said himself, if anyone believes me, they need their heads checked. I'm entertainment only.
Give me one moment.
What's wrong?
Okay. I'm just going to go to me for a moment, guys. I know you can still see me. The Zoom for Kim, for some reason, has just gone a little bit bluey. So, one moment. Here we go. Got you back. Ta-da! There we go. We're back.
Hi.
We're back. Okay. So, yeah, carry on, lass. What were you saying? Apologies.
No, so just I guess my point is that I feel like we should be able to demand from our news organizations that what they're saying is true.
Mm.
And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like that's happening in the case of Fox and the case of CNN. And
Yeah,
I think people deserve better. I think everybody in this chat that's watching deserves better than that.
absolutely. With that being said, we are going to cut it here for the public portion of the stream. Stay exactly where you are because Pop Culture Justice Live will be continuing. But with that being said, if you appreciated this video and you want more, do make sure first and foremost that you do subscribe to Popcorn Planet. Hit that notification bell. Also as well, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories, whatever on this one. Also as well, why not join today for as little as $5.99 a month? Become a Popcorn Planeteer and you get exclusive content from Andy himself. But with that being said, like I said, everyone that is here right now, stay exactly where you are. We're not going anywhere. We're just going to clip this for YouTube. But for everyone watching on the replay, thank you very much for bearing with us, and we'll see you on the next one.